Okay, I made a video earlier, and it was about my request to see videos from others on hard times, on Skid Row. People that are struggling, people living in tents, people whatever, that are basically sharing information anyways. Getting paid, not getting paid, just sharing information anyways. We've got the technology. I've got the technology. I'm using the internet. This isn't costing me a dime. This isn't costing me a penny. Right here. What I got going on right here. Living simply. I got some coffee brewing over there. It's very cold outside. I'm in a tent. Man, I'm just getting stronger every day as I think my life's actually going to get a lot easier in this year as I get my media projects going. But what I want to say here, as someone that's gone through this experience and going through it, for me it's like training. Jedi mind training, survival training. It's part of my spiritual experience of not being attached to certain things, to certain people. So part of what I've been doing has been for myself, especially going out in the desert and being in a quiet part of Colorado and the planet. There was something deep about that. But there is shame that I have felt at times about my situation. Some of it has been based on some of the YouTube comments. Facebook a little bit, not as much, but there is a certain amount of callousness that those with something have towards those with nothing. And that's why certain people with nothing have resentments towards that which they see as the rich people. When they say kill the rich or eat the rich, it's in response to how they feel, not only about their own situation, but how they've been treated, how they've been looked at. I stay away from being resentful. Again, I've mentioned many times that I look good in press shirts and jackets, so I look like a rich guy because of just my glow, or my whatever is about me. But it's not money, it's just me. But they'll confuse that if they're stupid, and a lot of people are stupid. A lot of Americans have a lot of polluted things going on in their head. A lot of humans do. They may perceive that, ooh, he's a rich guy. And I don't want to go on too long about this, but if I'm wearing torn clothing or if I have long hair, if I'm unshaven for a few days, I look like a rough motherfucker. I look like Wolfman. You've seen me in some of the other videos. I look very different than the Alex Answer you're looking at right now with short hair. So people will look at me from either side of the polarity. It's really fucking bizarre. Cue Twilight Zone theme now. But my point is, I think people need to get over the shame. So I'm going to talk more about being homeless. I'm going to write a book about it, about how there is lack of support for alternative media today. I will talk about how there is a support for alternative media, but a lot of people gravitate towards alpha males. So they'll support a few people because a lot of people are supporting them. If some people don't see that a lot of people are supporting you, they won't support you. So I'll talk about that aspect of human psychology that a lot of people never discuss. But I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and I know that if you come across as someone homeless, people might assume that you're homeless for a reason, that maybe you deserve to be homeless, or that you're a bum, or that there's something actually wrong with you. They most of the time won't consider why you may spiritually be choosing to go with less in order to make yourself stronger. So all these things I'm learning about human psychology, I'm learning about my own strengths to go from the grid, to go back on the grid, to do different things. I've had a lot of beautiful things land in my lap through synchronicity. I think that I'm supposed to help people rise from shame. I'm getting this feeling now. This isn't about me. This is about a lot of people that are suffering. And someone said, well, Alex, they can't. A lot of homeless can't because they have no computers or laptops. I understand that perspective on a huge, huge class of street homeless that are chronically homeless. They're not walking around with laptops. But there are millions that have moved back in with mom, and there are millions, part of those millions are parents that have moved back in with their kid. There are people that could choose to use YouTube, but they're not. They could choose to be the media. But there's also shame. There's some perception that we've got to have a nice studio, and there's a lot of expectations people have thrown at me. From my hair, my appearance, to don't talk about nya. Well, look, this is the set, this is the background, this is how the fuck it is. And I'm just going to keep rolling. And I got no shame. I've got no shame. I've got nothing but things that I'm proud for. I have some things I'm ashamed of that I've done in this life, but it doesn't have to do with my current economic status. So the point is that I think there's a lot of people that are ashamed, that have been shamed for the situation. So they're not on YouTube talking about the situation because they've been told by society that they don't have the same value as others. They don't have the same value as this guy or that guy with that studio. They haven't made the films he has. They're not the tip of the spear. And there's a lot of that borderline bullying behavior going on. There's a lot of this alpha male worship that is just out of control for a few individuals. Because Homo sapiens, by and large, have shown themselves to, for the most part, aspects of humanity. Listen to that monkey gene, read that monkey gene, and literally worship alpha male. While the alpha males duke it out over who's going to be more superior. I mean, we show those monkey attributes in our human world. And some of us have vowed to not participate in the Ooga Booga dance, in the Ooga Booga behaviors of our fellow brothers and sisters. We step outside that box, and we observe it, and we chronicle it, and we commentate on the social directions and changes. And myself, adding in how the sun has influence over a lot of this. The sun has a huge influence over migratory patterns of human beings. Humans moving, decided, you know what, it's just time to go. I was just seeing Freeman the other day in Lawrence, Kansas. He's lived here off and on for 20 years, and it's ironic. I'm moving into the general area, although I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, which is just near the border of Kansas, just east of Kansas. So he's about an hour drive west of here. He was talking about going to South Carolina. And all of this is sudden. Something is going on with his mother. He needs to see his mother and help her. She has health issues. But it was sudden for me to move here and him to leave. And the sun's poles just flipped. And we've seen a lot of changes as of recently. So I think there's a major, major correlation. And some people are, I don't think homeless is the proper term. Some people have become home free. Some people have freed themselves from anchors, and they're on the road to freedom. And homeless isn't really the right word because everywhere can be our home. But there's a whole growing number of Americans who have become mobile. And part of it is therapy. Part of it is not just economic, it's therapy. And people are being shamed for seeking natural forms of therapy. Okay, we're not taking white drugs in the city, little pills so we can handle our horrible jobs, slave jobs. We're not taking those drugs, at least some of us aren't, and we're trying to be free and allow ourselves to travel and not be tied down or told when we can, talk to our friends and when we can't talk to our friends. I'll never forget that moment that I was sitting in a rose garden in Portland, Oregon. It was like 2009, but I was with a woman that I was so attracted to her, and she was older than I, and she had children, and I wanted nothing more than her to have respect for me as someone that maybe one day I could be close to her. I was really attracted to her, and I struggled with a crush on her for years, and there's definitely certain motivating factors to me leaving Portland. And that feeling of not, being economically viable. And that cell phone ringing. And that job where I was bussing tables, where they fired me anyway after 5 years. They never appreciated the work that I did there for how long and the shit I put up with. It was my night off and I was being called in. And that was the one day that she had actually made time to sit with me. And that feeling of how good it felt to be sitting with someone and then watching it just being taken away from me after a few minutes of sitting down. Just like that. Not only in her interest in me, but the moment as I had to go to my slave job. And how much emphasis people place on having a job and paying rent, and how much people spend their lives being completely enslaved, giving themselves, and not even being respected by others because it's not a real job. It's not a real job in the alpha male community and world, so I opt out of this fucking shit. I've opted out of being attracted to certain people. My sexuality has changed. The things about me have changed. I'm not worried about my stuff anymore. I don't talk about impending collapse, having already gone through my own. and the experience of saying, fuck it, I opt out, I fucking opt out, I'm free now. I'm free from her, I'm free from this, I'm free from that place, I'm free from him, thinking former employers, I'm free from masters. I am fucking free. You can't pay for freedom. You take action for freedom. You can't pay for freedom. You don't have to pay for freedom. You take action for freedom. Freedom has a price. Freedom ain't free like they say, but it's nothing like what they say. And it's completely different than anything they've ever thought of. Freedom ain't free. And if you want to be free, you got to be willing to opt out. And we're not just talking about the TSA body scanners. We're talking about opting out from mainstream societies. And until more people come to that part of Colorado, it's going to be tough for people out there that think like us. But I'd like to see more, and I'd like to see more independent communities start in North America. I'd like to see more people film their quote-unquote progressive, sustainable communities. I'd like to see examples of it where there's no cult leader. I'd like to see examples of it where there are no unnecessary rules. Simply because you've attracted people of a certain mindset that aren't going to disrespect you, which is a whole other part of it. I don't want to be accidentally involved in people that say they're with me and turn around and backstab me, tell me they're going to take down my website, tell me they're going to do this to me, tell me they're going to be my stalker, like Justin Barber did in Denver, Colorado. He's going to take down my website. It's like sick behavior from someone that I met off the grid who found me on YouTube. I have to be very careful at the same time that I don't get mixed up with crazy motherfuckers. People go, Alex, it's COINTELPRO. Bull fucking shit, show some evidence. These are real people. These are real people that have real jobs and real families. And that's what people don't take into account when they're busy with their conspiracy theory. That there's a lot of motherfucking assholes out here that are mostly interested, whether they know it or not, in simply just making someone else their slave. Oh, you do this and you can live on my land. You do this and you will have shelter. Bullshit. I have a dream. It's a little different than MLK, but I have a dream. And I don't hear other people echoing that dream. So let me echo myself again and repeat myself. I have a dream that one day, people with nothing but with an idea can come someplace and share that idea with the entire world. And we are talking about an off-the-grid alternative media studio. You've heard David Icke with his pitch for $300,000 for a studio. That he is freaked out that if he doesn't receive regular income, they can't pay the rent. So more and more and more money goes to a landlord. So much of this money for the People's Voice to keep that going is going to a landlord. So they can stay afloat. So they can pay their rent. So they can pay their staff. Their paid staff. I have a dream. I have a dream! That one day we will have an off-the-grid alternative media studio that doesn't require a monthly rent, and good people will be involved in the creation of this studio. So it will not be co-opted, not by a government conspiracy, but by someone's greed or ego, or some other archonic interference. I have a dream that people that are clear, people that have a good nature to them, people that truly desire freedom, that they will find each other. And that those of us will find each other. And we will take this freedom to the next level. And most of all, in conclusion, show an example to the world. And through this media project and so much more, not only would people be freer by embarking on creating their own media and sharing it with the whole world, people seeing it would be inspired to do similar in their own locales. The goal here is to get people out of shame for being homeless, because there are millions homeless that have laptops right now that could be saying what's on their mind, but for whatever reason, they're not. In the meantime, I will. And thank you for watching.